Well, good evening, everyone. We'll wait till a few people get on tonight. We've got had a long day today. We did start late, and and we got out late today. So wait for a few people to get on here. And hi, Diane, Melissa Knoll, Nancy Henderson. See Tara Lee on here. Hi, Tara Lee, and Michael. Bailey. So we've got tell you what, it's been a long packed week this week. We've got so much has happened. We haven't even probably been able to touch on half of it in these live streams that been going on in court this week. Some long days. The day was right at 6:30 before we even was released from court today. The jurors had to stay late, way later than normal. So I'm going to try to take some questions from some people and talk about several things if we can. Hi, Teresa and Mike, all the way from Washington. So some interesting things have been coming out. We've only had one witness so far in this trial. Just started, and we did finish with that first witness. That first witness was Mary Joanne Rudwell. And she's the BLM supervisor for the district of this area here in Nevada. And it's a new witness that we haven't even got brought up yet. So this is the first time we've actually been able to have this witness in one of these trials. It seems like every time we get in court right now with these defense attorneys, they just keep digging up more information that has been kept from us, from the defense team. Eric Parker, Scott Drexler, they didn't have the benefit of this because so much stuff was held from them first trials. This trial should have been the one that took place all along. And with that, we probably would not even had a trial for none of these other guys. But we'll still see how this goes. Today there was more talk about a mistrial on several points, and the judge even brought it up at the end of the day here, threatening to call a mistrial because of what one of the defense lawyers said. One of the things I want to touch on here is something new that I've heard. We've heard a little bit along the way, but not publicly in court, and that's what they call the threat assessment. The BLM and the FBI back in 2014 did a threat assessment of the Bundys and the Bundy Ranch, and this was done before they decided to start impounding the cows. One thing that came up interesting here is the BLM had a threat assessment that they considered the Bundys dangerous, but the FBI, their threat assessment, which came out today as brand new that we haven't heard about, the FBI's threat assessment said there was no danger of the Bundys. They didn't figure the Bundys or anyone associated with them at that time was any threat at all. That's something that we have not heard publicly until today. And with Mr. Whipple, his cross-examination of this witness, Mr. Philpott, his cross-examination of this witness brought this out today. And one thing Mr. Philpott brought up, and he started asking this witness questions, this Mary Rutwell questions, and he wanted to know the threat assessment, where it came from, and asking her questions of how she knew about this and how she had received this threat assessment but didn't pay any attention to it. Hi, Andrea Parker. I seen you did a live update on Dwayne Emmer. That was very nice of you to go over there. I wished I could have been there for him too. It's hard to be in one place, two places at once, but I'm glad you were there, and I'm going to watch that after a while. I've been getting a few details from Portland, Oregon over there of Dwayne Emmer's situation, and I'm glad you were there and reported on that today along with several other people. Sounds like quite a few people showed up over there, and that is just awesome. I seen Gladia Raccoon is on here too, and I wanted to say something too about Ryan Payne, since I seen her come on here. And Ryan Bundy yesterday, when he was giving his opening statements, he told the jurors, he pointed over at Ryan Payne. Ryan Bundy did this, and he pointed over at Ryan Payne, and he said, I want the jurors to know that that man, Ryan Payne there, saved my life. He is my hero. And I thought that was pretty awesome for Ryan Bundy to do that. And Ryan Payne is a hero. All these guys are heroes. And for another prisoner, a political prisoner, a guy just going through trial, to recognize another person that's involved in this situation here that came to save lives, give recognition to somebody like Ryan Payne and Dwayne Emmer, Jake Ryan, and Jason Patrick, and just all these guys. It's just a lot of names here to mention. We're going to try to go over this list here, and I'm going to try to catch up with some questions and answers. I am very tired. It's been some very long days here. I'm having a hard time even staying awake in court sometimes here. Just some parts are very boring, and then there's other times that it's very interesting. So we've had our boring parts today and our very interesting parts. But we'll get back here to what we were talking about here of the case today. And yeah, Ryan Payne is our hero. That's right. Mr. Philpott got up today, and he started elaborating on this threat assessment that the FBI had done, and declared that the Bundys were not a threat. And Mr. Philpott said he wanted to elaborate on this, and he wanted to talk about it, and the government objected. They didn't want to. And so he turned to the judge and he said, Your Honor, this is something brand new that has came out. This is something that we want to, this is something that we haven't been told up until now. It's something that the government has kept out and hasn't told us. The judge got so upset over at that moment. She really raised her voice at Morgan Philpott, and she said, Mr. Philpott, do you want me to declare a mistrial right now? She said, this is uncalled for. And she called for a sidebar. And the sidebar, everybody pulled to the side, and they got all the defense lawyers, and they discussed what Mr. Philpott had brought up about this threat assessment. When she came back on the bench there, the judge, she denied Mr. Philpott to go back over that threat assessment. Wouldn't let him talk about it any longer. And this is something that should have been allowed because this witness had brought it up. This witness had firsthand knowledge of this threat assessment. But the government claimed that it was a security risk to be talking about this threat assessment, that this was FBI, it was classified, and the judge asked them what they knew about it. And I don't know if somebody's having some problems here watching this or not. I see a couple messages coming on here. So the judge did tell the prosecutors that they needed to provide this, or even if it's a redacted form, but they needed to provide this FBI threat assessment to her and to the court, I think by Monday morning. So that's brand new information that came out. That's more information that the government has been hiding. I know that Ryan Payne's attorney got up and spoke on it and said, after the jurors had left, and said that this is something that this is just adds more fuel to the fire, more information that has been kept from the defense. This is something that we asked for a long time ago, and we didn't get it. And they claimed that they did not have it. And now we're finding out they have it again. I'll look at some more of my notes here just to see what else of real interest that came up today. This trial here again, we're allowed to have juror questions. So after everything was ran today, the defense team cross-examined this witness. The jurors asked questions, and we had 6 jurors that asked multiple questions. some very interesting questions today. It said the first question that was read is, were there any new improvements on public land? If so, what were they? And I'm not for sure exactly myself what this juror wanted to know. And some of us thought, or at least I thought, that they might have wanted to know if Cliven Bundy had made these new improvements on this public land. And what were these improvements that were made? So the witness answered back, if the improvements were for cattle, they were done without a permit. So these water rights that Cliven Bundy owns, he has water tanks, he has places to water the cows, close to a dozen places all over the whole ranch there. And but her answer was that if there were any improvements if it was for cattle, they were done without a permit. We want to touch on these water rights a little bit. It was proven in court that Cliven Bundy owns the water rights there, that they are his water rights. And these water rights can't be taken away by the BLM. The grazing rights are separate from the water rights, and Cliven Bundy has been on this since his family has been on this ranch, this land since the 1800s. And he owns those water rights. They can't be taken away from him. So this water rights were brought up a lot today. Another thing of interest about these water rights in these jurors' questions is who owns the water rights, or how do you get the water rights? Are they federal? Are they state, or what? And this was something I didn't even quite put two and two together. These water rights that Cliven Bundy owns is given by the state of Nevada. So it's a state right, not a federal right. The federal government is now claiming that they own the grazing rights out here, and they are wanting to give a permit separate of the state, and they have no say-so over the water rights. And she even mentioned that today. This witness said that they don't have no control over the water. The water is given by the state, but the federal government controls the grazing rights, and without a permit. But the thing about the improvements on the water rights, you can own the water rights, but you can't do any improvement with the water rights. So there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. It seems like they make up some of these rules as they go along. Another question that the jurors ask is, who is the authority of the water rights? And she answered, the authority of the water rights is the state of Nevada. It says, who did the assessment? The no permit. Was it possible to own the water rights and the land, or not the land? That question there wasn't really answered. It was answered so vaguely that it really wasn't answered properly. Who made the decision on public lands is the fourth juror question. And who makes the decision? Was it like Dan Love, or was it this Mary Rudwell? And she said the assessment of these lands are done by each field office, has its own person who does assessments and makes the rules around on each area. So here out of Clark County, it would have been out of Las Vegas here, there was an office that made all the assessments out there for the country, for out there in the BLM land. Answer number 5 was very interesting. These jurors, this is their first witness that they've had so far for the government has brought in, and they're really paying attention more closely than I thought. And I want to elaborate on some of this about some of these jurors that we think that aren't paying attention, but maybe actually are. But number 5 question was, where is Mr. Dave Bundy now? That was a big question, because they're concerned they know some of the Bundys are here in court being tried along with Ryan Payne, but this juror wanted to know, where is Mr. Dave Bundy now? This witness answered, I don't know. And that's how it was left. And maybe she doesn't know, or maybe she does, but she definitely did not answer it. The sixth question, which had actually 7 questions in this. So whichever juror wrote this one, and I'm not for sure who wrote this one, it's the first question in this one is were there any desert tourists on the Bundy Ranch harmed? And they claimed, the witness said yes. The next question was, are you in charge of the water rights? And she said no. So the BLM is not in charge of the water rights. So this confirms more of what we were talking about, the water rights. It says, who is in charge of the allotments? And this goes back to the Bundy, to the BLM. The BLM makes these allotments, and this juror also wanted to know, can these allotments or boundaries be moved? And she said yes, these allotments and boundaries could be moved. To ensure the safety of the land, that these boundaries can be moved around by the BLM. It has nothing to do with, it's not wrote in stone. There's no survey marks out there that says this. One of the biggest questions here that I thought was interesting is about the fences. And they wanted to know if these lands were fenced off. And they said no, that Nevada is a fence-out state. Public lands aren't fenced. It's up to the private owner to fence their own land if they don't want cows coming in, or livestock and stuff. So I thought there was some pretty good questions that were asked of these jurors for the very first witness we had. We've had a couple of jurors that seemed like they were falling asleep. I don't know if they were actually falling asleep or just actually sitting there with their eyes closed, watching very closely, because of the questions that came out. It was pretty obvious that they've been paying attention and they're very curious of what's going on. Water rights become private property. The very end of the day, we talked a lot about the water rights and asking this witness all these questions about the water rights and who owns them. And she said that this witness said that Mr. Bundy did not have to have permission to go up on BLM or public property to check his water, but he had to have a permit to put cows on there. And these permits, was mentioned in these notes that this permit is given for 10 years, that they could keep cows for 10 years. And the question was asked, were the cows, had they done any damage before Mr. Bundy's permit was denied him after that certain point in 1993, when he decided not to no longer have a contract with the BLM and buy his rights from them, from a federal entity, when he thought they should go to the state of Nevada. So they said that no, she did not know of any damage to the public properties before while Mr. Bundy, Cliven Bundy, was paying for this permit. It's when he decided not to pay for the permit is when all of a sudden they found damages. And these cows become a public nuisance and become a safety issue. But as long as you're paying for the right, you have a right to do something then that may be causing damage. And the double talk with them and all this just did not make sense. And I'm hoping the jurors see through all this. It seems like they are. And a lot of interesting things came out. I'll start watching for some questions if anybody has any questions, and maybe I can answer those. Permits are another tax, is what they are. They're a tax, and free people don't pay a tax. Mr. Ryan Bundy said it really best today that if you rent a house, you have privileges. If you own the house, you have rights. And that's what it came down to out here, is that these permits are unlawful, they're wrong, and they shouldn't be paying for these grazing fees. People, it's multi-use. It paying to run your own business. That's right, exactly. And people who ride bicycles out there, they do multiple things. They hike, they hunt, sightsee, and there's multiple uses for this. And for the grazing rights, for them to be taxed and abused for someone who wants to try to make a living and has been making a living, a family, for 140 years, they're trying to put these people out of business. 53 ranchers used to be and 53 ranchers used to be here in Clark County. There's one rancher left because of this corruption, and that's Cliven Bundy. And that's all they're trying to do. They're making excuses up, taking this land away from these ranchers and putting them out of business so they can sell the mining rights and sell this off to foreign entities, to other people. I'm looking for some more questions here if somebody has any. It is all about putting people out of business, bringing in big corporations, and stuff like that. Looking for some questions here. So the motion to the mistrial has not been answered yet that Ammon Bundy has filed, but the judge, if anybody didn't hear that, the judge threatened a mistrial today herself. There has been no mistrial declared yet. We don't really want a mistrial. We want, so right now, Harry Reid hasn't really been mentioned yet in this trial either. But Dan Love has been mentioned numerous times, over and over and over again. These jurors right now know for sure who Dan Love is. About the killing of the cows, I haven't heard anything yet about the killing of the cows. But we have heard about snipers. We've heard about the surveillance, the abuse of Dave Bundy being arrested. And we've heard about Ammon being tased. We've seen the videos of this. So we've seen all this kind of stuff so far, and all of that has been brought in, and hopefully Harry Reid's name will be brought into it too. He's a big part of this. I don't think Phil Potter or anybody wants to see a mistrial. We want all acquittals here. We don't want to go through this same thing again. If we have a mistrial, all the thing that's going to happen there is we're going to have to pick new jurors and start this thing all over again. I honestly think is my own opinion, that we have a good set of jurors. We have a lot of undecisive jurors that don't know probably what they think right now, but they're listening to the evidence. And like Mr. Whipple said, we want all the truth in. Ryan Bundy said, we want all the truth in. We just don't want one side, and you're going to hear only one side of it if you hear the government. And that's what's happened in the last two trials. We've heard one side. The prosecution told their side, and they denied the defendants in the last two trials their witnesses. They denied their testimonies that they needed to bring in. They denied it a lot. Right now, we are bringing in a lot of new evidence that's never been heard before in the front of these jurors. A lot of us knew. It's public record out here. But the prosecution claims that they didn't know about it, and they've hid it. And that stuff is coming in. I got to say one thing. This defense team is fighting hard. They're fighting together. They're fighting with unity. And they're all working together. One defendant will get up and one lawyer will get up and help another lawyer or help Ryan Bundy with his defense. They're all helping in unity. I haven't never seen in a long time, probably Portland is the last time I really seen a defense team work together so well. We had 7 defendants back there in the first trial in Portland. Those lawyers and paralegals, they worked together like one big team. And that was a wonderful thing to see. This time we're seeing that again, that they're getting to actually work together, fighting for each other, not just individually. I see Ryan Payne's attorney helping Ryan Bundy, and helping each other. And it's they are fighting hard. They are objecting more than the prosecutors have. I got to say that much. And that's one more thing that I didn't mention. After the jurors left today, the judge she got upset with all the objections this afternoon, and she said there'll be no more objections in front of the jurors. And that's a new ruling that we haven't had so far. So at this point forward, she wants no objections in front of the jurors. We're to take all objections to sidebar and discuss these objections outside the ears of the jurors. And she also said that she will not allow court any longer. I know, Terry Lee, it's crazy. No objections. No objections at all from anyone outside they got to be all done outside the ears of the jurors. She doesn't want to taint these jurors, cause a mistrial by these objections of either the defendants or the prosecution. So they all have to be done without the jurors present. So this is going to be interesting how this goes on. She also said it's not going to be, we're not going to have court after 4:30 any longer. We're not going to keep the jurors any longer. This is the last day she's going to allow that. She kind of got onto the defense teams with the prosecutor and said there's no more court after 4:30 after this, because we was in court till right at 6:30 or a little later tonight before we got out. And then Brandon Thornton already objects to this. So one thing I thought, and I that was very inappropriate of the judge tonight, and I don't know if it's what the lawyers think about it, but for me as an observer, we have a marshal that's been here in this court ever since we started. He's an older marshal. He handles the jurors, and the day was his last day as a marshal. He's retiring today. So, and he always sticks with the jurors. He makes sure they get back and forth from their rooms. He makes sure they get up and down the stairs without anybody interfering with them. But the day was his last day. While we were in court, at the very end, she told the recorder lady to go off record. And she said, we're going to go off record for a few minutes. And she turns and said, the marshal here that has been so kind to you jurors and do whatever you need to do, take you out for smoke breaks and make sure you're safe, being safely escorted through the courthouse and courtroom and getting you here on time. This is his last day, jurors, and he won't be back tomorrow. And I want everyone to give him a hand clap for his great service that he has done. So the whole courtroom clapped for this marshal. And then after everybody got done clapping, the judge got up from her seat, walked over to the marshal and handed him a thank you card and thanked him for his service. To me, it was very biased of a marshal that's working there for the court, that's protecting the jurors from the dangerous defendants, and here she is giving him a card in a public courtroom and treating him that way. He's supposed to be biased. And the jurors, after she gave them the card, she said, tell this marshal thank you for what he's done. And so the jurors got up, and each one filed out of the courtroom. They gave him a hug, shook his hand, tapped him on the shoulders, and thanked him for his service. And tomorrow we're supposed to get a brand new marshal to take his place. But I thought it very inappropriate to do that type of thing in front of the jurors. If we did that to one of the defendants, we would all be in trouble. And so it's very biased, and it is totally wrong that happened. We have had a lot of other things in court this week that has been a lot more lax. And remember back in the last trial, Eric Parker was locked up in a cell for several hours during court because he turned around and looked at one of the other defendants, Scott Drexler, possibly. He didn't even talk to him or nothing. He just maybe glanced up and talked to him. This trial so far, they have not been on to punishing none of the defendants so far. Like during one of the objections, and everybody had a sidebar, I noticed Clivens, he stood up and turned around. He was talking to Ammon a while. The others, they kind of talk among themselves. Ammon was talking to Ryan Payne. And so it was a lot more lax than it was in the last trial for that kind of stuff. And we're glad and thankful for that. That's about all I can think of right now. I'm trying to see the cops. James, we've had the cops around the courthouse have been actually really lax. They've got to know us, I think, and see we're not a threat. We seldom ever see them. They come and they go, but we barely ever see them. There are a lot of marshals in the courtroom. The courtroom itself usually has about 12 marshals or more, and the guys are chained up in there, at least shackles on their feet. We've got Ryan Bundy now isn't shackled. He's the only one that is not shackled because he's out on pretrial release. And I heard last night, someone told me tonight that Angie Bundy fixed him supper last night when he got home, and a home-cooked meal instead of jail food. Ryan Bundy, he looks, he's in good spirits and really looks really, really good. Court for next week. I know it starts at 8:30 on Monday. It appears that we're only going to have court Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is a possibility. So I don't know exactly if it's going to be or not on Wednesday, but we know Monday and Tuesday for sure we have court next week. Wednesday's in the dark at this moment. We're not positive. There's Dwayne Emmer today. It had sentencing this afternoon, and I haven't read and listened to everything that happened over there. Just brief messages on it. But I was told that Dwayne Emmer got 1 year and 1 day. He was sentenced to today for the refuge, and that he is supposed to turn himself in on the end of January, late January sometime. So at least they did not take him into custody today. That Dwayne Emmer gets another month and a half or so here, 2 months. Gets to spend Christmas with his daughter. So that's good news. I sympathize for him and his family. Even for 1 year is too long in prison for him. But that's what he was sentenced to today. They were talking longer time than 1 year. So I'm glad that it's not any longer than that. Daryl Thorne has sentencing this coming Monday. So if anybody can be down there, I see Tammy Hill said the 24th. So the 24th must be when Dwayne Emmer has to turn himself in to start serving his sentence. Daryl Thorne has sentencing this coming Monday. So I know there was a lot of supporters. I wish I could be over there, but it doesn't look like it at this time that I can be over there. But if you can show up, some of the other sentencings for the other guys have been put off. I think John Ritzheimer's is November 30th there in Portland, Oregon. Jake Ryan's, I'm not for sure his date right now. I know that's been put off, possibly into December or January. Jason Patrick's has been put off till January sometime. So that's some of that. I want to thank everyone who came out to court this week. We had the courtroom literally packed out almost every single day. People from all over the country. We've got people from the Philippines. There's a gentleman here from the Philippines that's been here. We've got people from Colombia, South America that's been here. So we've got people from all over. And I see Corey and I seen James discussing about the bullet in Ryan Bundy's arm. That bullet has not been removed. It's still in his arm. I don't know the details of what legally and what he's going to be doing. Mel Bundy served in the Philippines. That's pretty neat. I did not know that. That Ryan Bundy still has the bullet in his arm, and it has not been removed. So that's something that's, I I know that he's probably discussing and trying to figure out what he's going to do with that right now. It says, yes, they are going to remove it. So that's good news. I know he has a lot to prepare for, and it's probably not the biggest thing on his plate, but he definitely still has that bullet in his arm. He's been wanting to get out before it is removed. Out there in Pahrump, we still got men that are still sitting in jail that have not had a trial. One of these men the other day, Micah McGuire, decided to take a plea deal. He's waited almost 2 years for justice to be served, and he was tired of waiting and ended up taking a plea deal. These guys should not be forced into taking these plea deals like this. If they would have been released and been at home, they would have had more time to think about it. We've got Joe O'Shaughnessy out there yet. We don't want to forget about these guys. And sometimes these quick updates we do in court, we don't get to mention everybody's names and don't remember it all. But we've got Joe O'Shaughnessy. We've got Jason Woods, Mel Bundy, and Dave Bundy. We've got Todd Engel out there. So Micah McGuire is not guilty for what he had to do. He wanted to be home with his family. He was tired of spending time in prison, being innocent, waiting on a trial that he's never even had a chance to have yet. I don't know where Blaine Cooper's at. I know he went home. He's been around his kids. I've seen pictures of him with his children and stuff. He's probably at home enjoying himself and glad to be out of prison too. Blaine is free. He's at home right now. He pled guilty to some charges. I'm not for sure what they were. Is there a page of a list of everyone and where they are? I know there's different people that post things periodically. I know I've got them on one of my pages, John Lamb, Last Free Man. We try to keep them updated different times. Cynthia Prim makes posts and has those lists. Paula Hart, Kelly Stewart. There's quite a few people that have those lists and tells where they all are. Jason Patrick, he's in Sheridan, Oregon right now. Jerry DeLoomis is in Massachusetts in a prison there. Michael Emery, he's in California right now serving his time there, and he's hoping to get out sometime soon to a halfway house. Thomas Lacavera just recently got released, so I'm understanding he is probably en route home. The Hammonds are still in prison. They have not been released. They're at Terminal Island. They've got, I don't know how much more time left, probably another year left of their time before they get out. John Ristheimer's, he's out. He's waiting on sentencing. Jake Ryan's waiting on sentencing. He's out of jail. Dwayne Emmer's out, going to be turning himself in late January. So them are some of the names I can think of right off the top of my head here. But there's a lot to keep up with, and we could use help from everybody out there to keep reminding us, you sharing the word. Thomas Lacavera, he was charged, and he actually decided to take a plea deal. And he served that time. He was considered too dangerous like all the rest of the people here, and he was never ever released until he's pled guilty, and then they decide to let him out. That's the way this seems to work. Is if you'll make a plea deal, then you will be let out, and you're no longer a threat to society if you just plead help. Thomas Lacavera does need help. I've talked to him just briefly since he's been out, and I guess it was day before yesterday he was released. And the guy, to me, and I've never met him personally outside of jail, and I'm hoping to meet him sometime soon, but I tell you what, he seems like a strong guy like the rest of these guys. He is praying for the other guys in trial here. He really didn't even ask for nothing of himself except prayer. He said he's praying for all these guys, send his love to the guys in this trial and the guys that are still held at Pahrump, and that that he was praying for them, praying that they get acquitted here. We've also got Bill Keebler. He's still sitting in jail without bond. Trying to keep up with all the messages just in case I'm missing something here. And usually I'm doing these updates right from court, and there's a lot of noise, so I don't get to sit down and actually do this. This is more relaxing, a little easier than court, right there in front of the courthouse. The 93-year-old doctor, he has been released and been ordered to be released from the appeals court, and his case is being reviewed. The appeals court said that it was a tragedy what happened to him. And most people, I see a lot of people sometimes says, well, he was nothing but a criminal. He sold signed prescriptions illegally. He had a license to give out prescriptions. And there is not one single victim besides government agents that set him up. And this kind of atrocity should not happen in America, where the government testifies for the government against defendants. When there's no victim, there is no crime. And Schaefer Cox, he's still sitting in Illinois, waiting on more hearings and stuff too. And he and his family, they definitely need your support. So James, I see you ask again about Ryan's bullet. All I do is know that he still has that bullet, and the cops have been treating us better. They definitely have been. They're a lot friendlier. There's not that many cops around actually. That we used to have so many surrounding us that they don't show up as much. They don't go around. There is. I see someone asked about Skyler here. He's getting out Monday. So Skyler Balboa, he does get out Monday, and his mom Stacy said it's going to be very, very busy on Monday morning, November the 20th, and that he gets out first thing in the morning at 10 a.m. But he has a lot of stuff to do, probably paperwork for his probation or whatever all that is, and he's wanting a release celebration to happen at 5 o'clock in the evening. We'll try to help get you that information, or maybe go to his mom's Stacy Balboa and ask her. Maybe she's setting up that time. Maybe Jennifer Cannon and some of them that are living around there are helping with that. But they're wanting to do a celebration for his release sometime at 5 o'clock on the 20th there. So I'm thinking I covered everything I could think of. This is, yes, Ryan Bundy can go to a private doctor. I'm sure he's working on that. Let's see. Let me see here. Trying to catch some of these messages. There's a lot coming in. Hoping I'm not missing anything here. The Camp Liberty. I see somebody just asked that. We have a house here that we was trying to fix up. That's a good question. There is a house that's rented for Camp Liberty, but we can't get an occupation license at this time until we have some more work done. I don't know if that's going to happen. So right now we don't really have Camp Liberty at this moment here in town. There's been other people that have offered places for everybody to stay, like myself and others that are coming into town. So we just have homes that have opened up. If there are other people that want to offer their homes for people to stay in, that would be very helpful. If it's one person coming in or two or three, so I'm trying to catch all these. I see Luana. Yeah, Luana, let's try to bring you in and we can talk about. I just seen your message here. See if we can do that. I don't know. I haven't did it myself yet, but let's see if you send me a message to come in. Maybe I can accept it. Let's try that. Luana Elliott. Let's see if this works here. So it's going to be new to me. I've been on a few live streams with other people, but I've never brought anybody in just yet. And Luella says she knows she can talk about Dwayne's hearing today. Okay, let's see. I see something here. We're going to try to bring Luella in. Accepted the invitation
There we
here.
go. Can you see me?
Hello, how you doing?
Hi. I haven't
I
even changed
can
my.
see you.
Yeah, it took me all day to get home. I haven't even changed my clothes. So
Well,
Dwayne's sentencing hearing. There was good things and bad things, but he got sentenced to 12 months and 1 day. However, the good thing, I think the judge was trying to be nice. I really do. And Dwayne has never ever said anything bad about her, which is really just weird but that's how Dwayne is. He doesn't say bad things. She said he didn't have to turn himself in. She's trusting him to turn himself in, but not until January 24th because she's giving him the holidays to be with his family. So I will say,
wow, that's awesome.
I'm thankful for that. She did knock some of the things down some levels because she was, she would take a little break and look at everything. But she said that was the minimum that she could give him. But I really, it's like looking at a sweet and sour gummy bear because she was sour at times and sweet at other times. And I don't understand how they could bring in a witness. They brought in a witness from the Indian Council that supposedly was a victim because of what was done. And she said that when she saw on media that they were digging she said French, but it was a hole, that apparently said, I know exactly where that is. That is a burial spot. But Dwayne said that the first that he did, ran into an internet cable. Apparently, and it was right next to an old parking lot. So someone's already dug into that land to put that cable. That's what. No bones were dug up. Nothing was dug up. Dwayne said maybe some obsidian, but that's natural to the ground almost everywhere out in Eastern Oregon. So I know because I used to get it too. But I don't understand, and they weren't really listening to him when he was saying that. But this witness who didn't have to swear in because there's no jury, didn't have to identify, credentials of who she was. Their counsel had to do with the oppression of the government taking their land, and they have no control or really access to that land. However, the reason that she felt victimized was because they regularly go on the land and collect relics. I'm thinking, wait a minute, she just contradicted herself. So let's figure out how that is possible to have a victim witness when the trial is over, there's no jury, nothing. It was just all to bring his charges up to higher levels. So
wow.
I don't understand how that they can legally do that. I was very upset, more upset about that than his 12-month sentence.
Yes.
But we had a good turnout. Eric Parker, I'm a brain dead.
Andrea Parker.
Andrea Parker was there. Apparently I crack everybody up, but anyway, because I kept saying things under my breath. I'm like, I'm trying to be good. I don't want to get kicked out. And Bruce Cuff was there. Oh my gosh, I love him. He sat through the whole thing. He was getting a little antsy. He nudged me really hard when I said under my breath something about the witness. I'm like, we don't need a witness. Go eat your Twinkies. And so apparently that was the wrong thing. But it was good. Maureen was there, Dory was there. We just had people there, and it was nice to see people there, especially with everything that's going on in Nevada. That we appreciate here in Oregon. I am so busy trying to get, it's like money is a struggle for me, but I try to donate to the auctions and stuff because it's the only thing I can do. But we all have a part to play, and I feel like my job is to help do the Portland thing. So whenever things happen here, but I appreciate what you guys are doing too, because it helps me to know what's really going on. I don't want to rely on media. I don't trust them anymore. So whatever you guys say, I will trust that that's what's going on, and it helps me to know so that when we're dealing with this stuff, we can compare and figure out, who is on the up and up and not. So
Yeah.
I just want to, but Dwayne is taking it in stride, and I just told Dwayne, I'm like, do what you have to do, and it's up to us to make sure the Hellboy gets fed while he's gone, and to make sure that his mom is okay. His mom is by herself. He lost his dad, I don't know how long ago, but his mom is just a kick in the pants. She used to be a clown. They used to be clowns. She was sharing that with me. And she goes, they ruined it. These horror movies, they ruined it. All those evil clowns. Nobody wants clowns anymore. So I'm like, I like clowns, even the evil clowns. But she shared a lot with me, and she is a special lady. And her, and Rebecca, oh my gosh. Henri, stubborn. Gee, I know she's going to be okay. But I still think we need to still keep that in mind and make sure that that horse gets fed. So,
Yes, that's right.
and
Well,
make
thank you
sure
for
that,
being there for him.
yeah.
I wished I could have been there. I talk to Daryl Thorne quite often on the phone, so I kind of know what's going on from him, but I haven't been able to get over there by being here. It's hard to be in all these places.
I feel bad because I took on Daryl Thorne for a while, but I've had a lot of stuff going on in the home front and personal that I haven't been able to keep up. I mean, I'm living in a trailer and I still struggle. So,
Yeah.
and then with Iona passing away, I really struggled with that. So my heart was in it, but mentally I wasn't. But I'm getting back in the swing of things, and I'm hoping to be able to help as much as I can. So even if it's just going down to the courthouse and the next I think 2 or 3 trial sentencing hearings, I'll be able to go because I have those days off. But the last one, I won't be able to go. So, but I will try to keep you guys informed if you guys are still in Nevada and all that. So
Okay.
I'll do my part, but keep keeping us informed here too, because like Maureen Valdez, she's done a lot. She's really struggling too. She is so sick all the time. She can't get a break. She's got these sinus issues, so she's struggling to pay her bills too. So she told me to tell you guys she sends her love. She couldn't even stay on the phone very long. She was so sick. But I feel bad because I can't even get over to help her. So don't think that just because we're not there that we don't support you guys.
I understand that totally. So thank you. Thanks for coming on and giving us an update.
Oh, you're welcome.
So,
So everything's okay
okay.
though here. All right.
Good,
Bye.
great. Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
How do we do this? Okay. How do we get me off of here?
I don't know yet. It's the first time I've done it. So that was Luana Elliott there in Portland, Oregon. She was giving us a quick update there on Dwayne Emmer and Daryl Thorne's the 21st. So I think that's what they said. I thought it was, yeah, the 21st. So they're going to be there reporting for that. And all the political prisoner names and updates are on Patriot Mail Project. It's PMP, Patriot Mail Project, and then you can find out everything about where all the political prisoners are and who they are and stuff like that. So anyway, I seen someone ask here what my PayPal is. I honestly do not know that link or how to do it. I'll try to post it I'll answer the questions here after I get off, hopefully, because there's somebody, Nancy Henderson just posted it. It looks like John Lamb, PayPal me. So John Lamb, PayPal.me/J Lamb. It so Unshackled is a good page. Lindsay Lemansky just said that gives you a lot of information. My family's doing good. Right now, we have a lot of snow in Montana. So between taking care of animals and putting hay out, and my oldest son, he builds sheds and greenhouses and stuff. He's busy working even in the wintertime. So it's a busy home back there at my place, but it's being taken care of, and it's hard to be away from home, but this is an important thing I feel like to do. And so, yeah, Unshackled is a good page, has a lot of information, a lot of things I think that people can show how to show support to these families that are in that are in jail. It Joe Robertson is in a halfway house. Should be out any time and going home, but he's back in Montana. So hopefully. They said they posted the wrong John Lamb PayPal, so I'm not for sure. I'll try to get some of those answers here soon. I don't really know that PayPal thing or what it is, the exact thing here. A good place to live in Montana. I live on the western side near Bozeman, Montana, and that's the prettiest part of Montana, so that's the part I like. The eastern side is more flat and windier and not as pretty. And so wrong PayPal posted. We'll try to get that fixed here after a while. Thanks, Cindy. So if that's all the questions for the night, this is a longer live stream than I normally do. So hopefully it was very informational. We got you some. Got you some of the answers, some of your questions answered, and we'll try to do one of these hopefully once or twice a week if we can, and get as much information out there as we can. That sometimes we miss during the day there at court, trying to do the quick updates between hearings and everything. Somebody has a question mark about Cliven, and they asked about how they were dressed. I'll try to get that answered too. So Cliven is dressed in all jail clothes, and so is Ammon Bundy. They're in their jail scrubs. It's a choice that they're doing on their own. They want to not pretend that they're not incarcerated or detained. So they're both dressed in jail scrubs. Ryan Bundy was dressed in a suit today, kind of a Western clothes with a vest. And Ryan Payne, he has a white shirt on the day, and he had a black one on yesterday. On the back of it says, "We the People." He looked really good. All of them looked good. They actually did. They all looked really good. But Cliven seems like he's doing good, in good spirits. They're all glad to be in trial. This is the day they've been waiting for. They're not trying to run from nothing. This was what they've been wanting to do all along, and prove their innocence, prove that they had not done nothing wrong. Unless I see anything else here, I'm going to sign off here in a moment. But we appreciate everybody's. Here's Joni Baxter there, posted the PayPal there. So Redoubt News is a great informational place. They 100% on and accurate. You're not going to get any better news from some of these places like Redoubt News. Maxine Bernstein's been here in court a lot, reporting from Oregon. Some good informational stuff from her, and so we've had a lot of good people here. It's been awesome. I see one more person wants to come on real quick. I'll bring them on, and we'll make this short, and we'll sign off here in a minute. We'll see what we got here. Hold on just a second. I know it's hard for all of us to be everywhere, and that's why I'm here in Vegas reporting on this. So, but I guess I'm going to sign off for tonight. We have no court tomorrow, none on Saturday or Sunday, so I'm going to get some rest the next 3 days. Take it easy, maybe do some visits at the jail. But we have no court, which is much needed here to catch up on our rest. Thanks everybody for joining. Hope we answered your questions. Good night, everyone, and God bless. And we'll see you back on Monday here at Las Vegas Federal Courthouse.